Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. It's our last Monday show for a while.
It is.
It is our last Monday show for a while, but we are going to knock this one out of the park. We're going to knock everyone out of the park this week. We've got amazing shows.
Oh, no,
Some say the best shows we've ever done will be this week.
We'll see.
Some people are saying it's the best shows we've ever done. We got a phenomenal guest coming in on Tuesday, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I invited them in a couple weeks ago. So you guys got to come back tomorrow to see. And then Wednesday is going to be a great show. Thursday, we're blowing everything out. I'm not sure the studio will survive. I got to make sure that the new 904 Now owners have insurance on it with Brightway Insurance, because that's going to be a big deal. Because if they don't, I'm not responsible for the damages that happen in the after party. So it's going to be good. It's going to be super fun. So you guys tune in with us all week long. We're going to do some sponsors. Amanda has been soloing, getting everything set up while we're getting ready. And I'll tell you why I look like grunge today, because I was playing golf.
Grunge, you're a construction worker.
I was playing golf today, and only thing I did was change my sweaty hat for a nice hat, and then walked in the studio.
You're very on brand.
I was even going to change shirts, but I wasn't going to help the way I smelled, so I apologize. Is this the worst I've ever smelled?
It does smell like sunscreen and like outside.
Yes, I apologize to Amanda.
It's not bad. It's just outside.
Who smells like school barf, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Nice. I'm the reason it stinks in here.
You do homeschool, and they do barf, and they are school kids.
I'm in a classroom on Monday.
Oh, the fun things.
Yeah.
All the fun things. Were you on the morning show this morning?
No, I was teaching kids
Teaching
this morning.
kids. All right. I did. I was busy getting ready.
I know. You're busy having fun.
I'm busy. All right. Solomon Services.
Yeah.
It's the premier place for personal training in St. Augustine. They specialize in both youth and adult training classes, athletic training. They have small group strength and fitness development classes. If you've been injured and you're trying to get better, stronger, and faster, they can help you do that, get back on the court or the field. They're wonderful at that because all of their coaches are certified through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. They do all this training at a state-of-the-art center with both indoor and outdoor turf areas. Give them a call today, 904-461-9945, or visit their website, solomonservices.com.
Absolutely. A to Z. They offer free estimates and have been serving St. Johns County for over 20 years in the construction industry. They offer painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties for up to 25 years. They do shingle roofs with warranties for up to 50 years. They install tile roofing, cedar, shake shingles, designer roofing, and flat roof coverings. Recent job photos with material descriptions can be seen at A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing.com. Abear Kresge and Associates, they are a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing top-level service in the areas of tax compliance, planning for businesses, individuals, estates, and trusts. They do audits, reviews, and other accounting services, business valuations, forensic analysis, and litigation support. You can reach them today at 904-460-0747 or online at abearkresgecpa.com.
All right. And one of the most important reads we always do is Epic. It's an amazing group. We're going to talk about Taste of St. Augustine too today, because I actually went.
Yeah?
I did go, and I have updates from Taste of St. Augustine. Epic, let's step into the world of support and healing with Epic Behavioral Healthcare. For over 50 years, Epic has been a beacon of hope for our community, providing compassionate care for those touched by substance use or mental health disorders. Whether you are a kid, teen, adult, couple, or family, Epic is here to lend a helping hand. With a range of programs tailored to meet diverse needs, Epic offers accessible solutions for everyone. From their walk-in access center to their mobile response team, from inpatient detoxification to outpatient counseling, Epic provides comprehensive care every step of the way. Their services include psychiatric evaluations, medication management, medication-assisted treatment, care coordination, peer support, suicide prevention training, parenting education, and much, much, much more. Give them a call. Epic has been helping St. Johns County and especially St. Augustine for over 50 years. Great folks. Absolutely wonderful.
They are amazing.
Taste of St. Augustine knocked it out of the park. They were really, really good. We went, walked over there, walked home. Spencer was there. His mac and cheese was amazing.
It's so good.
Perch was good.
It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Meehan's.
Meehan's?
Meehan's had the longest line.
Yeah.
They had a smashed cheeseburger, and it was good. It was very, very, very good. Spencer's was very, very good. Had some pizza there, had some other stuff. I mean, really good food. Did not drink other than water. So I cannot tell you on the beer. They did have Dad water and Stella's and something else. So I can tell you what they had.
Dad water.
But anyway, well, that's Dad water is the Ultra.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what the young people refer to it as Dad water.
Well, I got Mom water.
What do you have?
It's sparkling water that may or may not be 4%.
I'm fine with that. It was your last day teaching.
It was
Monday.
my last day last day of my first year of 10th grade.
Yep.
I'm going to stick with the 10th grade class next year. So my daughter and all of her friends graduated out of my class this year. They'll be with my other friends for her class next year.
Sweet.
So it's cool. I'll have the students I had last year. I'm going to get them back again this year.
Mm-hmm.
Great group of kids. All of these kids are really great kids. But we did like a taco bar.
Mm-hmm.
We did an ice cream sundae bar after all the kids were done eating. There was a lot to our kind of final exam sort of situation. So it was a multimedia extravaganza.
It sounds like the final exam was, do you want sprinkles? Do you want chocolate chips? Do you want gummies on your ice cream? It sounded like
that was
that's
just
what
the motivator.
Ah.
So they had a lot of work. So we had to do, we did Western cultural history in my class this year. And so part of their exam, they had to identify pieces of art.
Yep.
Name of the art, name of the artist, the period in art history, when it was created, date it was created.
Most of the periods I found were Baroque.
The medium. Everything's broke to you. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It was Baroque.
Yeah.
Oh, teacher, why was it Baroque?
They also had to listen to snippets of classical music,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be any part of the classical music, a short clip of it, and identify the piece of music, the composer, again, the period it was created in.
If only George was still with us.
Yeah. He would have been there.
You don't know George. Have you
I
heard
didn't-
stories about
I've
George?
heard stories about George.
He would
play
call
music
the
for you
radio
guys.
show and he would play classical music and want to know if we
Yeah.
knew what it was and who it was. And, you know, most of the time we're like, okay, George, thanks, George. We couldn't get George off the line and commercials would kind of stop the George mojo. But the one day that I did the show by myself, my guest bailed at the last second and none of the ads would run. So it was 60 minutes of live air that had to be filled. When George called, I almost cried.
Yeah.
I was so happy to talk to him. And I was like, so how many albums do you have, George? Let's play most of them, right? So it was just, I was working my way through it, but it was awesome. So I do miss George. He could have done the classical music section for you rather well.
That would have been fantastic. So I know enough, thanks to Clay's training, I know enough how to connect my computer to the soundboard, and I was able to play the music through the speakers, the house sound in my classroom, and they got to see the art on big TV screens because I can hook all that stuff up. So it's kind of cool that all this stuff that I do trains me to make our classroom more entertaining, and it's cool.
You are entertaining.
My world
Your classroom
collide.
is entertaining.
We'll see.
Do they grade you at the end of the year?
I got assessments this year.
Yeah, I got assessments.
I got a huge gift basket. So that's something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was always Darcy would bring all this stuff home at the end
Oh,
of the year. So that was kind of always interesting as a teacher. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
How many
Awesome.
coffee cups did she get every year?
Not a lot of coffee cups. And they, you know, some of the stuff was pretty thoughtful and pretty cool. And some of it, you know, parents were you're just happy to get whatever. So, I mean, it's always,
I got some stuff that everyone in my family was really excited about. I got one of those like water resistant picnic blankets that like pack up into a shoulder bag. So
Yeah.
it's easy to take. Beach towels, like gift cards, treats.
Andy's trolling me.
Yeah.
Andy's trolling me. He wants to know this is my longest stretch of shows. No, there was a time way back when I probably went months and months
You didn't travel
doing
very
show. We didn't traveling very much. We had all the kids here. So it isn't. But I do have a trip planned shortly after, and I do mean shortly after Thursday. So
Yeah, you
I
do.
get to see my daughter. She's in New York, and we're gonna go up to see
I
her.
was talking to Darcy when we hadn't announced yet, but obviously Darcy knew because she probably
Darcy knows
knew
everything.
when our last show was before I did.
Yes, she did.
And
Absolutely.
I was like, yeah, date set, last show. She's like, he might miss that. Our daughter's coming to town.
Yeah.
Squeaked it in.
Oh, we
Yeah.
barely got that in, but
Yeah.
Thursday's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of people. And again, tomorrow's show's going to be great. There's a new restaurant that opened here in town. Locals, if you had, you're going to love this interview tomorrow. It's going to really, really be fun.
Yes.
But yes.
I'm excited.
And Taste of St. Augustine, I got to give a shout out to Pat, who worked with Ned at Gypsy Cab and then bought Gypsy Cab from Ned. And Pat has been a fixture in the nonprofit world in St. Augustine for as long as I can remember. Every single time there was a nonprofit event, Pat was there.
Yeah.
And he was there working at Taste of St. Augustine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like his retirement is to continue working and helping people in St. Augustine. So absolutely awesome. Love Pat from Gypsy. He's just a very, very cool.
There's some talk. Do you ladies want to know when I'm going to be on the morning show next? Rebecca and Robin are going back and forth. The boys don't know this yet because I haven't told them, but I'm going tomorrow. Let them know.
Yeah, you guys can let them know.
Yeah.
You'll be on tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you
I
guys,
was going to text them in the group chat, but we got started.
are you done with? I mean, homeschooling is done.
So we have some catch up work that we need to do. So we've got a few weeks of super easy days where we're just, Isabella, I'm working with Isabella more hands-on with Latin this year because it's a new textbook. And so we got behind in the craziness of all the extra curricular activities of April. And so she and I are going to catch up on some Latin. I have the kids finish out math all the way to we finish the week before Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's our last day. So they'll continue to do math until then. And then Libby's got reading to do. Gavin's got some Latin to finish up as well. So Latin and math.
Did Troy approve the paintball war for Thursday? Has that been approved yet?
I heard hand grenades.
The
the Diwali color hand grenades. That's why cleanup's going to be.
Ask him on the morning show if that's allowed for Thursday.
All right.
Just put a note in there. Remind yourself, paintball in the studio. We're going to be able to do that.
Yep.
So I know I'm going to aim for Troy first. I can get Blake later.
All right.
Yeah. I get Blake later.
The way everyone's going to turn those guns on me. So,
and I want to give
we're going to be starting a fund for like my massage therapy
Massage
after
therapy.
the paintball
Might
thing.
want to start with a fund for new TVs. Vested Metals.
There's some bonus TV.
There is. There are a couple out there.
Yeah.
You may take one as a parting gift on the way out. Vested Metals had their golf tournament today. That's where I was at. I was at Marsh Creek. All the money that they raise, they are donating to charities, and they did it in honor of somebody who passed. It was really an awesome golf tournament.
Awesome.
Really, really fun. And the amazing thing was it was a little hot.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tee off until noon.
Yeah.
Everyone was leaving the driving range, and I mean, it was getting ready to be summertime, and all of a sudden the northeast wind kicked in, and I was
It was
like,
a warm day.
thank goodness for the breeze.
Yeah. It was a
Thank
warm
goodness
day.
for the breeze.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I had, like I said, we had the ice cream bar, so I had to bring home the leftovers of the ice cream because you can't just like leave stuff at the church where we meet. So I have like 2 probably half-gallon pints, half left, that I had to bring home, and chocolate chips and gummy bears and Butterfinger pieces, like all of the topping kind of stuff. And I'm trying to get home as fast as I could. I had it in a cooler, but I left in such a hurry. I didn't bring ice packs.
Yes.
So it's just like a wing and a prayer to get it home.
It'll all the good stuff. If it's like chocolate chips or something, and it will all be at the bottom.
Yeah.
It will all have settled on you.
Yeah.
But no, ice cream in our house as a kid was a staple. We had ice cream almost every single night before you went to bed. That was just the one thing you knew you had ice cream.
You grew up in the time when like you definitely had dessert after dinner.
I grew up in a time we had to dress up for dinner. No, I'm just kidding.
You're probably not kidding.
You couldn't come to the table with no shoes and no shirt, or you got no service and a backhand.
In your own home?
Yes.
Well,
there was a phenomenal meme that was out, and it was like kids talking back to their parents today. and like the kid is crying on the couch and the parents are trying to console them.
Yeah.
And then it was like me after talking back to my mom in 1984. And it was Rocky Balboa from the first movie in the corner and like Mick's getting ready to cut him. His face is all bruised up. And I'm like, that's true.
Yeah.
I remember that. You never spoke back to your mom back in those days.
I remember I was in the kitchen. I was in high school. I was probably 17. And I had gotten to where I was like kind of cussing. I wasn't supposed to, but I was kind of doing it. And I was getting away with it because like I was really good about not saying anything in front of my mom. And I'm sitting there talking with a couple of my girlfriends and my mom, and we're all joking around. And I was like, that dumb shit. And she slapped me across the face in front of my friends. Oh my word. I'm like 17. And she didn't even think about it. It was instantaneous. It was just, I didn't even say the T before I had a hand across my face.
That's it.
And it was hard.
That's how justice was dealt out back in the day.
It was swift.
There was no trial. There was no appeal.
No.
There was no defense attorney.
No due process.
It was just it was due process. She processed your face duly.
She did.
Immediately. Immediately. That's how it was.
I got my swift trial.
It was almost worse when it didn't happen immediately. And
I was like, stressing about
when your dad comes home.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because there was a while there where I had so many rehearsals, I had so many practices, and my dad worked nights, and so he would sleep during the day. So we would pass each other if it wasn't swim season. We would pass each other when I was going out to school and he was coming home, and then I wouldn't see him again until like 4 or 5 days later because I was like practicing. I had rehearsals, I had all kinds of stuff, and my dad was working 12-hour shifts overnight. And so like if there was something that I didn't necessarily want to tell him, the big sticking point was math test grades. And they're not terrible. I would get like a C. But he would want to help me in math so that I wouldn't get C's. But he was trying to teach me in a way that I didn't understand. And so it didn't help because I had to show it the way I had to show it. But like I couldn't communicate to him like this, I love where your head's at, but this isn't helping me right now. It was just taking like 2.5 hours and you're just getting mad at me, and I'm still not any closer with my math than I was at the beginning. I would kind of hide those grades, and then they'd find out, of course, when the report card would come in. And then if I played my cards right, I wouldn't see him for like a week.
Yeah.
So then mom would have to tell him because I wouldn't see him. And then it was like a week of, how bad is it going to be when I do see him?
I got a bad report. I had a chance to go spend a weekend with a friend, and I kept the report from my mom. I didn't mention it on Friday, and I mentioned it Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was informed that I would have been grounded. And I was like, yeah, this is going to hurt a little bit, but I did have a really good weekend. And so I was like, I took the punishment, but I was like, if I hadn't, I would have missed the weekend and had the punishment. So I was like, okay, I can live with this. So is there a subject matter your kids don't want to come to you on? Because when I helped the kids with their schoolwork, there was one subject matter they loved having my help with, and there was one not so much.
Yeah. I mean, as far as with my kids, my kid, so I'm the teacher, right? So I'm the one that's going to grade it. So if it's something that needs like in-depth grading and it's kind of subjective, then they want my help because daddy doesn't know how they've been graded in the past because I do all the grading. But if it's something like, if it's chemistry or math, then they're definitely going to daddy.
Yeah.
Because like I can explain it, but just the way my kids process, some of my kids process the way my husband thinks, and some of them process the way I think. And so the ones that process the way I think will come to me and ask for help. The ones that get frustrated because their brain doesn't work like mine, they go to daddy.
So my kids loved coming to me for math, and math was fun, but I would have to figure it out the old school way. And then I would let them kind of figure it out. So I knew what the answer was, and I'd have to let them show me the new way. Because to me, the new way was stupid.
Yeah.
The old school way worked. It always worked. Why do
Yeah.
I got to learn a new way, right? Old dog, new tricks, not me. And so there was, as they got up into math, they get to like the last part of 8th grade,
Mhm.
and they'd be like, "You're on your own.
Yeah.
Come back to me when you get to geometry in high school. I'm good with that." But I just didn't. And the subject they knew I would give them the answer,
Mhm.
but they didn't want the lecture.
Yeah.
Was history.
Yeah.
Because they would come to me with a question, and I'd be like, "Where's your textbook?"
Yeah.
Because I want to read the textbook. I want the context of what
Mhm.
you're being taught.
Yeah.
Dad, you don't just give me the answer.
Yeah.
They're like, "No, you need to know the background." I don't want to know the background. I just want to know. You need to know why this was going on because it's probably not in your textbook.
Mhm.
Just give me the answer. And I was like, it's like, you can ask your mom. Mom doesn't know the answer to this. You got to get it. I was like, so I would drive them nuts because a 30-second history answer
Yeah.
was
A 30 minute.
5 minutes of research, 10 minutes of me giving them the backstory, asking them questions to make sure they got it, and then actually giving them the answer.
Yeah.
They did not like that. They knew the answers were right, but they didn't want to come to me.
Yeah.
They're like, Dad, please don't. Just give
Yeah.
me the answer.
My kids have said that to me.
Just
like,
don't.
I don't have time for the story. Can we do the story another day?
Yes.
And we can just get the short answer right now and just save the story for dinner or something.
So there's a whole lot going back on about grandparenting and parenting.
Yeah.
And the comment about, how hard parenting was back then and stuff.
Uh-huh.
In our house, anytime my parents started telling us the stories of back in the day, it was more when we were in high school and we had a kind of a good foundation with them and really,
Mhm.
but we would always end the story for them.
Yeah.
And my brother, I would go, yeah, it was in the snow uphill, and the other
Both
one would
ways.
yell both ways, right?
Yep.
And so my parents just began working that into their stories.
Mhm.
So they would tell us the story, and then they would go, then it would start snowing, and then it was uphill
Yeah.
both ways. So we all had fun with that while we were getting the lecture about how tough it was.
Yeah.
So my parents did have a pretty good sense of humor about
That's
that.
good.
Yeah, it's like uphill both ways.
Although I did
In the snow.
learn when I went to college in New York
Mhm.
that you can walk uphill both ways to school
Mm-hmm.
because my dorm was on this side of the hill and class was on that side of
yeah.
the hill. So I had to walk up and downhill
Yes.
both times. And I wouldn't wear real shoes. I would just wear flip-flops. And so I'd walk in the snow in flip-flops.
And we would joke with our parents about it's Florida.
Yeah.
But back, I got to tell you, the weather was much colder in the 70s
Yeah.
than it is now. I mean, we were going through a cold snap, and Leonard Nimoy was telling us that the next ice age
The
was
next
coming.
ice age
Yes.
was coming.
Yes, on In Search Of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they came up with 20 In Search Of shows because there are like 6 things that they were really in search of.
Well, Al Gore
I think they
said
were in search of an
snow.
audience. Is what they
That
were.
is what
That's
they
what
were
they
in
were in search of. But it did snow here in the 70s. It was the most
Al
brutal
Gore
day.
said snow was endangered and we wouldn't see snow, and we just had snow in Jacksonville. You know, it's a thing.
But you know what wasn't endangered? Al Gore's bank account.
No, it
That
wasn't.
dude did not lose any money as a part of all of
Or
this.
his chakras.
No. And the
It's a line,
grandparenting,
but not endangered.
grandparenting is a whole lot more fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you enjoying
We
it,
had our
sir?
grandsons this weekend. They got brought over Saturday morning early. It's like, the older one is 13. It's like, okay, donuts. Oh yeah, let's go. So we went and got them. They're not really supposed to have donuts, but we're like, I want all of my grandchildren when I pass away to be able to stand around and go, my favorite thing is what happened after Grandpa Mike said, don't tell your mom and dad about this. That was my favorite stuff. I knew that it was getting ready to be fun and we were
Terrible.
going to have a great time. That is not
You
terrible.
you are
Nope.
teaching your grandkids to keep secrets from their parents, and that is a big no-no these
I'm
days.
teaching them to have fun with their grandparents. Different thing. That's the way you look at it. See, you're not a grandparent yet. You're going to call me years from now,
No.
and I'm going to accept the call. And you're going to, I'm not going to block you.
So that'll be new.
Is this the call? Yes, this is the call where I'm now a grandparent. And guess what I just told my grandkids?
Mhm.
Yes,
It's no good.
100%. What do you think your mom tells your grandkids right now?
So she
Like, Susan.
doesn't tell them not to tell us, or at least she didn't when they were toddlers. It's one thing
Uh-huh.
when they're older because it's like they're in on the joke.
Well, I don't
but
think
when
the
they're
18-month-old
toddlers-
got it, but the 13-year-old understood the concept.
Yeah, because like it is a grooming tactic to be like, don't tell your parents, and so like, don't do that.
I don't drive a sketchy van. There's like 7 other things I can say right now.
But your giant mega truck, that's why it's not cold here anymore.
I'm absolutely just going to leave the other 7 things out of this conversation that I could.
You did have a mustache. You're trying to grow it.
I did. I've had the mustache, the goatee, the beard. I've had all of it this year.
You're very versatile.
I've had all of it. Just kind of was like, oh, well, whatever.
The more exotic you got with your facial hair, the less secure my job was.
Yes. That's exactly right.
And
Andy, my house, my rules. Yep.
Yeah,
that was my mom, Dee Dee's house, Dee Dee's rule.
Mm-hmm.
And that got used a lot.
Yeah, I bet.
There are a lot of mad
you
parents.
Don't question Dee Dee.
Well, if you want to get backhanded at age 45, you could.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I was walking through your house once, and this hand just grabbed my arm.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going anywhere.
No.
She's a strong lady.
No.
And she has something to say to me.
No.
And I wasn't walking past her. And that's what happened.
Going nowhere. And we have to give a shout out. 55th birthday, Melania Trump.
Happy birthday, Melania.
How old is she? She doesn't look a day over 40. 35.
I'd say 35. She looks 35.
She's a very attractive one.
In the words of the girls in my class, she's a baddie.
Yes.
They all want to be Melania Trump when they grow up.
I think she's incredibly, first of all, she speaks like 5 languages or 6 languages. She is probably the most underrated first lady in the first term.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to mess with her in the second term. When she came out with the black hat,
Dude.
no one wanted to mess with her.
No.
No, the media is like, we are not doing stories about her this term.
Melania's vengeance tour.
Yes. Yes.
I want to talk about a villain origin story.
Oh, gosh.
What a bunch of federal agents root through your underwear drawer. Yeah.
That would have
serious this time.
I would want, if that were me and that had been done to my wife, I would want the name of every single one of them. Yeah. And I would find out what are the 10 worst assignments you can give somebody. And I would make sure they had to go through 7 or 8.
Congratulations. You're heading to Minot, North Dakota.
I would in December and January. And no, you can't go on leave until April.
Yep.
When it's still snowing. That is a bad, and I don't know who would have volunteered for that. There's no way.
Well,
no.
Biden had a couple of years of DEI. So
I would have been like
years of DEI infiltration.
I would have lost my job over it. And if I'd been forced to go, I'd be like, I'm just going to make sure the cars are safe out here. I'm not going in and participating in that. Yeah. If I'd gone in there participating in that, I would have had a camera and I would have taken pictures of all the bad things they were doing and I would have leaked that stuff out.
Whistleblower.
100%. I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. No way I wouldn't wanted to do that. Yeah.
I wouldn't want my fingerprints on that drawer.
No, absolutely not. No way, no how. What happened in the world today while I was playing golf?
The only news story I really saw was the mass casualty incident in Clearwater.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Clearwater ferry with 45 people on board, including 2 crew members, and a 37-foot privately owned boat rear-ended the ferry and then took off.
Yes.
They ended up, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, they found the hit and run boat at the Bel Air boat ramp. So at least they found it, but 1 person passed away and lots of people are injured. About 12 people were in the hospital at 3:48 p.m. So no good. Guys, like, sober up. Be serious when you're operating any kind of vehicle. This is insane. Some poor person lost their life because someone's a douche and wasn't paying attention.
Responsibility in driving that boat is to take care of the people on the boat and the people that you come in contact with.
Yeah.
So if you want to drink and do a boat, put a little one in the bathtub, have as much as you want. Stay home. Don't go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean like a little boat?
I mean, a little teeny tiny boat. That's about what's about.
I thought you were saying little one as in small child. No, you don't want to get hammered. Little boat.
No, little boat. No, just a small boat.
Sorry, little one in my head is children. So I'm wearing my last day of school shirt, and it says "We Out Bra" because this was the cringiest one I could find that made the Zoomers and the Alphas eye roll. So I was like, that's the one. I was looking at.
You're making me eye roll because of the language on it is not grammatically correct.
I know. It annoys everyone. So it's the perfect last day of school
I
shirt.
think it's horrible, and someone should tell your mom.
She's watching.
I know she is.
She saw my shirt when I came in. And so we out, bra, hashtag happy last day.
Yes.
That's what I got.
Yep.
And I got the tie-dye one because, again, that's the one that got the biggest eye roll.
And Kathy has the perfect way to deal with grandparents who are helping you out.
Yeah.
Whatever their rules are, you do their rules. And then the minute that you get the child back, you change to whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Exactly what you do. That's how it works.
Yeah, we did cloth diapers for our kids too. And
I had cloth diapers because I was born back at the turn of the century.
my mom respected the cloth diapers mostly because I guess she didn't want to go and buy disposable.
Yes.
But she did respect the cloth diapers.
Yes.
But she was like watching kids in my house, and so it's a lot harder to get away with stuff when you're in the house. Because she didn't, when mine were in diapers, she was living somewhere else. And so she would come here once a month and she'd watch the kids so that we could have a break.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. It was lots of fun.
Bobby, I think it's May to December unless the guy is collecting or is old enough to collect Social Security when he starts dating the 20-year-old. Then I think it's worse than that. And first of all, Bill Belichick and his young girl.
40 years between
I think there's more than that. She's 20-something and he's 60-something. There's a lot more than that. And first of all, they're happy. More power to them. It's not my business to comment on it. But it just seems like if you can collect Social Security and you're dating someone who's still in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A rule I heard that I thought was nice was don't date someone younger than your oldest child.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's like they could have been their classmate or their friend. And so I think that's a good rule of thumb.
Yes, but you have to understand, like when
not everyone has kids.
This is in general conversation between you and I and an audience. But if you had 5 guys together and one of them announced that, the other 4 would be like, "Man, dude, you're living the coolest life ever." I'm telling you how it would be with a group of guys.
That's
just
so
saying.
Weird.
There's not one guy that would go, "That's a bad idea." They would all go, "Yeah, that's happy for you."
Not one guy would be like, it's
not
a bad
one
idea
guy,
to date a girl that's 40 years your junior.
No, not one.
All right.
Not one.
So
not
she's
a one.
24.
And
how
you guys that are
Belichick?
on here, you can comment. Not one would say a thing.
49 years his junior. He's 73.
Yeah. So he couldn't I mean, when they started dating, he could have been on Social Security.
He could be her grandfather. Like,
again, not one guy in the room is going to say that's a bad idea.
If he was quick, and his kids were quick to having kids, then he could be her grandfather.
Yeah.
Eesh.
Yeah. I don't even think if they knew she was gold digging, they're all going to go, that's a bad idea. I just don't.
Get a prenup.
Yep.
Protect yourself legally. Gracious. Ick. I don't like it. I don't like it.
All right. There is something you got to watch on the world stage.
All right.
So I caught wind of this yesterday. Just not much we can do about it, but just kind of keep an eye on it. India and Pakistan are really close to going to blows with one another. And last Thursday, we talked about how many nuclear warheads they had. And I think it was either 300 each or 500 each. It was a really close number. It doesn't matter. They had more than enough to start a nuclear war between the two of them.
1+ is enough.
Yeah, India had 3 more than Pakistan, which we kind of laughed about that.
Yeah.
But there was an event in Kashmir where Hindus were killed, and it was a terror attack. And it was a terror attack from somebody with Pakistani ties.
Okay.
And the Indian government has said none of this would have happened without the blessing of the Pakistani Secret Service, military, CIA, whatever they are called over there. So India shut off the water supply from the Indus River into Pakistan. Pakistan said, if you ever do that.
They just turned off the Indus River.
Yes, they have a way to do it, which means they've been planning this for a while. There's like
they
4
watched
levees.
Yellowstone?
Yes, they did. They did. So, and they've closed a gate where you could, immigrate back and forth between the two countries. You could visit back and forth. So it's getting a little interesting on that border. They have not liked each other. They've fought for years.
Yeah.
The feud between India and Pakistan predates last week's act by nearly 80 years, following Britain's decision to end its rule in the region following World War II. And enact the 1947 partition of British India, which essentially divided modern-day India and Pakistan on Hindu and Muslim populations. What could possibly go wrong with that? What could possibly go wrong with that? So anyway, just kind of keep an eye on it. Not much we can do about it. If they decide to start throwing nuclear bombs at one another, we're going to have limited ability.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That might affect whether or not Apple moves their production to India. Wasn't Gandhi assassinated by someone with Pakistani ties?
That I don't know the answer to. You will have to research that. I do not know the answer to that one. I don't know. I've not spent as much time studying this history. I just know that they do not get along with one another at all. And that they have fought one another over the years. So it's not good.
See, I cannot pronounce that man's name, but he had ties with Hindu nationalism.
Mm-hmm.
He shot Gandhi in the chest 3 times at point blank range at a multi-faith prayer meeting in New Delhi.
Yeah, the Indus River has a couple of branches that come through India and into Pakistan. And the Kashmir region is the region that is kind of at both sides have claims to it. India controls it.
His assassin was tied to the RSS, a right-wing Hindu paramilitary organization.
So that would not be Pakistan.
No, not Pakistan.
That would not be Pakistan.
Nope. Tensions were starting to rise between India and Pakistan at that time, though.
Yes.
That's wild. So our kids learn about the Indus River Valley and the early civilizations that come from that region as part of their history every year. So that's wild.
So just keep an eye on that. And then Bobby's comment, I don't begrudge him his age difference. It's just fun to talk about. I think that's why everybody talks about it.
Yeah, well,
it is.
They're also courting controversy because she shows up to formal events mostly naked. So they're sticking their thumb in everybody's eye. They want to be talked about. I mean, they're not acting like people who are serious and legitimate. They're acting like people that want to get headlines. So that's what they're doing. Regardless of the motivation.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So how was your golf game today?
I hit the ball really well on the first 9. The second 9, not so good. And I left early. I don't know. I was hitting the ball really well and then I wasn't. But I left early and I thought about it. I've been leaving early from golf tournaments that start at noon for 13 years. So the next one that's on a Monday,
about to not leave early.
I can stay and play the whole way through it. I actually walked like half a mile back to the car, which I'm fine with. I don't mind walking. I don't mind walking and carrying my clubs. I'm fine with all that. It's, right. I mean, to me, it's just a walk. Yeah. And I'm in shape enough that I can walk, so I'm perfectly fine.
That's a blessing.
With every bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I got to get back here early. And then I knew to leave Marsh Creek the back gateway, and I left the front gate, which only added like 10 more minutes to my trip.
Yeah.
So I was like, you knucklehead.
You rolled in with less than 10 minutes to go.
Knucklehead. I rolled in with like 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I said, Amanda's thinking I've already tapped out for the week.
No,
and I
we
haven't.
got this.
No.
I'm good.
It's like, no, we're good.
The show.
I did not.
Fine.
All right. We do need to do 5 questions. This is the last Monday version of 5 questions. There may be 5 questions on the last day.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see how much stuff we get through. Let's see. Let's just do the easy one.
Okay.
Favorite ice cream. You talked about having to take ice cream home. What's your favorite ice cream and the topping on it?
Okay. So if it's just like ice cream with the topping that you do, I'm basic. I like vanilla ice cream with hot cocoa powder on it.
How do you heat the cocoa powder?
You don't. It's just you put the powder like Swiss Miss or Carnation hot cocoa or whatever. You just put the powder on the ice cream and then you mix it up and it's like a frozen hot chocolate.
Okay. All right.
It's delicious.
When you said hot, I'm trying to figure out how you were heating.
It's even better when it's got the mini marshmallows in it.
I'm not a fan of the mini marshmallows.
Well, it's good in ice cream.
I don't like marshmallows in ice cream.
Okay.
That is like a no.
It's the only way I like actual marshmallows, but I do like marshmallow fluff. I like fish food, which also has marshmallow fluff in it. Chocolate ice cream with marshmallow fluff and caramel with fudgy fish.
No. So I'm just, if it's vanilla, I'll add chocolate chips to it.
Okay.
Or M&Ms. Those are good. I don't know why I still have back teeth, but they're still there and they're hanging in there. I do like Haagen-Dazs's chocolate chip.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal good. But I will occasionally overload even more chocolate chips into it.
Yeah.
And the mini chocolate chips,
you like
the little mini morsels are just like the bomb in ice cream because they're just good.
Yeah.
Now the other one, I do like the sprinkles, but I like the little small sprinkles. I don't like the big sprinkles. So
Publix chocolate trinity is Bobby's chocolate chip mint with chocolate syrup is Kathy's.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's also good. The Publix Moose Tracks. They have have one that has fudge bits in it, and then they have one that has peanut butter cups.
Yeah. And
you like frozen peanut butter cups, so you should get the Publix Moose Tracks with the peanut butter cups. It is good.
But I gotta tell you, Darcy and I talked about this about, I don't know, 6 months ago. We were traveling somewhere and we stopped for gas. I was like, well, let's just pick up a snack. We don't do a lot of junk food anymore. And I picked up a Reese's peanut butter cup and she had one and I had one. And I'm like, it just doesn't even taste good anymore.
Yeah.
It just didn't taste good. And I was like, I might have been in the store a while. It might not have been, but I was like, but we're like, no. So the one thing that has become the go-to.
Yeah.
The snack after dinner before bed, Ghirardelli's dark chocolate mint squares.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Those are really, that's become the go-to.
I haven't eaten a ton of candy since Christmas. And so I got one of those big bags of Ghirardelli squares.
Yes.
I like the dark chocolate sea salt caramel though.
Another solid
so
one.
They're good.
They're really good. Don't put those in the refrigerator.
No.
Those don't do well.
No.
The mint ones do amazing in the refrigerator.
I bet.
And Kathy's chocolate mint with chocolate syrup. Yeah, just add more chocolate chips in there. So then you're getting there.
Yeah.
Just kind of have the right amount of chocolate.
But the easiest chocolate treat that you can have is just having some Nestle semi-sweet chocolate morsels.
Do that all the time too.
A little bowl of semi-sweet chocolate morsels. Yeah. My husband and my daughter will buy them to make chocolate chips. And if I'm eating sugar, which I haven't been most of this year, then I'll just get a little ramekin of it. And then I totally ruin their chocolate chip plan. I have to go buy another bag.
So the other, if you want a healthy, and it's not as sweet, but the ones with more cacao in them that and they're more bitter.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot less sugar in them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff.
I like dark chocolate.
Have a square of that at about 30, 40 minutes before you go to bed.
It's good.
You'll sleep good. I'm just telling you, you'll sleep good.
What's your percentage cacao that you don't like to go over?
Probably 85.
Yeah.
The 90s are to me are just
85
too bitter.
to 90 are I can still enjoy that. But once you get over 90, it's you're just trying to prove something.
Yeah.
You're just trying to prove something.
It's like calling water liquid death. You're just trying to prove something.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're getting there, but you're trying to prove something. All right. What will you miss about 5 questions on Monday?
Learning all your dark secrets in front of an audience. He's never going to tell me his dirt once this is over.
I don't know. I might tell you more of it after it's over than before because
there's not a camera.
It's not a camera running. So, yeah. A lot of stupid things in my life. My age, you don't get to be this age and not have done some stupid things that you go, man, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
That was just, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
And those are just the teenage years. No, I kind of miss because there's a lot of things I've learned during 5 questions. With Troy, I learned way too much. Way too much. With you, it's a reserved answer to 5 questions. With Troy, it was well, since you asked the question, it's 5 questions. It was like a free get out of jail card for whatever he said. And I was like, I didn't need to know
My
that.
mom watches your show. I can't go too racy.
Need to know that.
Yeah.
Did not.
Yep.
No. What was your favorite 5-question question? I've got one that goes way back.
Huh.
Way back.
You give your answer then.
All right, so let me ask you the question while you're thinking about it.
Okay.
So the question was, and this was one of the early ones on, you're in a car accident. You can only save your spouse or a child.
Right.
What do you do? So it's one of those either ors.
Mm-hmm.
And so what would you do?
If I tried to save Louis and not one of the kids, he would be mad at me forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it would kill me, but I would save the kids. Like if he didn't make it because of that, then that would kill me. But I would save one of the kids.
Yeah, that was my answer.
I also can't lift my husband.
Well,
like there's zero chance I'm dragging him through a window.
Darcy and I both know that you would want your child to survive beyond you, and so that to me it's not if I can't get both, I'm saving the child, right? So I came home, and I'm at the dinner table, and I'm relaying this story to 3 of the kids. One is away in college, so 3 of the kids are home, the 3 boys, and I'm like all proud that I'd save a child. And one of the boys says, well, which one of us are you going to save? And I was like, I immediately realized that this was going to go sideways.
Never mind, I picked Darcy.
Quickly. Wasn't going to be good. It was going to be bad. I was like, this is not the place to be. Yeah. So before I could answer, Ethan, my middle son, says, well, that's easy. Dad's going to save me because I'm the smartest one. It's like they were all laughing. I was able to just kind of ease out of that. But there was a few questions for like a couple days afterwards. Dad, if you made up your mind who you'd save. Dad, if you made up your mind, I'm saving all of you. You can't save all of us, Dad.
Do you just change the answer depending on who's giving you a hard time now? This is why I would save you in the car accident.
We haven't had that. But that was a question I was like, oh, man, I aced that in the radio studio. And then I went home and went, man, I got crushed at home.
Go home to kind of brag about it and how you did such an awesome job. And then they just laid you out.
It was something else. So, so that's kind of where. So I would.
All right. Probably the Halloween candy question, because that's the one that you just dog with a bone. Get.
Oh, you can't tell me those kind of things. You can't tell me you like candy that no one else likes.
But what's funny is you kept trying to shame me to our guests, and every guest.
It was like on the side, you were texting them. If there's a candy corn question, the answer is you love candy corn.
I didn't even have to, because you're the weirdo.
Gosh.
Hate to break it to you.
There is something very, very wrong with some of the people here in St. Augustine. Candy corn might be it. I can't do the.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't have
it's like wax.
I'm not going to freeze my chocolate either, you weirdo.
Tastes like wax.
What? I'm going to freeze their chocolate.
It's awesome.
It's no good. It changes the crystal structure.
Do you not put your Nestle's semi-sweet morsels in the freezer?
No. It changes the crystal structure of the chocolate. You're not supposed to do that.
It makes
you temper chocolate for the proper silkiness, for the proper flavor profile, and then you ruin it by sticking it in the freezer.
You know, I can see you like having chocolate that's melted and dipping candy corn in it to eat it. That's what I can see you doing.
Ew, that's so gross. No.
Worse. Oh, you mean we finally found candy corn you wouldn't eat?
I don't put junk
after
in my
all
stuff.
these years.
I don't cross the beams. Chocolate is chocolate, and it should be enjoyed the way it's supposed to be enjoyed, with caramel. Candy corn is candy corn. You eat it on its own.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to use that candy corn soap in October, and I'm just going to come by and visit you like every other day.
Jelly beans or gumdrops?
Jelly beans or gumdrops?
Jelly beans or gumdrops?
Jelly beans. What are your favorite kinds of jelly beans?
Oh, I don't really have a favorite. Jelly beans are okay.
Are you a gumdrop kid?
I'm a gumdrop kid.
Weirdo.
Yeah, I'm a gumdrop kid.
Wow.
I think that's the only gummy that I do not like gummies.
You're the one.
Oh, I'm weird. Trust me.
So my favorite jelly bean is Jelly Belly Sours.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
They're the best.
I can 100% see.
Because there's no bad flavors in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
They're all good. And so you get an assorted bag of jelly beans, you get the black licorice, or you get like the popcorn or the nasties.
No,
Like
no
I don't want
popcorn.
any of the nasties. I don't want like what is it? Chemical warfare in my candy. So Jelly Belly sours are the best. They all taste good. It's delicious.
Bobby wants to melt the chocolate and pour it over Peeps and candy corn.
The Peeps wouldn't be bad. Peeps in a s'more, they're delicious.
Yeah.
Peeps s'mores are delicious.
Somewhere we have melted an algorithm tonight. Somewhere there's an algorithm trying to figure out if this is good or bad, and we have melted it because we have blended so many things
all
together.
All of the Peeps and all of the candy corn memes are going to start up in my feed. We've said it too many times.
All right. Is there one question you wanted to ask in 5 questions, but you never got to ask?
You want to go first? You want me to?
No, you go first. I'm saving mine.
All right. Did you call out Ben Carson intentionally just to make everyone uncomfortable?
No, I actually just...
You just boned it?
I just said, you know what? I'm just asking the question. And it was the quickest hang-up interview we ever had. And Pete worked so hard to get the interview. And I think it cost him all of his street cred in Washington, D.C. But I still was like, this is... You got to ask the question. And Carson announced like the next week. I was like...
It was the one question you were told not to ask.
It's the first one I asked. Sometimes so I just don't take instructions well.
If I had been a part of the Kevin Costner interview, he probably would have hung up because I love the movie Waterworld and I want to talk about it because I love that movie. And he didn't want to talk about it.
I can't figure if that movie or The Postman is like the worst.
I've never seen The Postman, but I love Waterworld.
And there are parts of The Postman you're like, okay, I can kind of like this, and but it drug on and on and on and on. Tom Petty had a great cameo in it.
I think Sigmund Freud would have something to say about the fact that you love watching rugged men ride horses.
Yeah.
Yellowstone, 1923.
I don't see. This is where this whole psychology thing falls flat on me because I grew up liking Westerns. It's fine, right? I didn't grow up identifying with the guy in the YMCA who was dressed as a cowboy. I just always have loved Westerns. They've always been great. But that's the genre we had as a kid.
Yeah. And
Taylor Sheridan has brought it back.
In a big way.
In a big way. And he's brought that whole macho kind of vibe back. In fact, I can't remember who the Democrat was this weekend that made the comment. The problem with Democrats today is we don't have anybody to match Trump's machoism or his alpha male, however they put it. It was like
Lenny saes that Pete Buttigieg is going to do that.
But the Democrats are desperate to find somebody.
Good luck.
Who has that sort of male charisma. And I'm like, you ran all of them out of your party.
Yeah.
You ran every one of them out. So you're literally looking for the thing that you ostracized. Yes. You told them you're toxic, you're out, you're done. So yeah.
And anytime any one of them had the audacity to say a slightly off-color joke, you told them that they were monsters and you kicked them out.
Yeah. No, that rugged individualism, American individual was embodied by the cowboy.
Yeah.
And, were the Cowboys always great? No, but there was a lot of great things that happened out west.
Yeah.
Right. You had African-American cowboys. You had Bass Reeves, who was a sheriff. You had a female sheriff who was depicted in 1923.
Yeah.
You had all kinds of the first all-female government body elected democratically was in Jackson, Wyoming. So a lot of stuff happened out in the West.
Jackson's Hole.
Yeah. No, Jackson Hole is where the ski resort is. Jackson is but you had a lot of that happened out West where the fact that if you had to survive, everybody had to chip in, and a lot of the things that had to do with race and other stuff. Now, unless you were from China working on the railroad, in which case you got treated horribly, but yeah. So but those were the railroad guys.
Well, when the environment is out to kill you, then all of those things that divide you in more friendly areas, environs, they kind of fade away.
Yeah. Yeah. When times are soft, it creates weak men.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of weak men now because they don't have to fight for their food. They don't have to do, we've invented the safest society. A 13-year-old told me this weekend that he thought that we were going backwards on the Darwin scale of evolution. that we had now reached a point where we were becoming dumber rather than smarter. A 13-year-old said this. And I said, you're 100% right. Because we live in a society where we save the stupid people. 200 years ago, if you went out in the woods and you didn't have enough food and you didn't have enough water and you didn't have a plan and you didn't have enough ammo, you probably died.
Yeah.
And your genes died with you. And we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And so we're not the fitness level and some of those things are just not there. And look, I'm the first one. If you told me I had to go out in the woods and live by myself, I'm going to struggle.
I will struggle.
Tell me I can go surf on a beach. I'll survive that all day long. But if I got to go in the woods, I'm not set up for that. I don't have, now I have cousins who literally I'd be like, okay, when are we going? And what do you need me to carry? Because I understand my role immediately means just carry stuff and learn stuff. And I fully would get, that's the only way I'm going to survive. Because I haven't grown up in that environment. So
yeah, I had probably one of my last arguments with my grandfather was that I sort of flippantly said that if the power grid went down, then half the population is going to die.
Yes.
And he got mad at me. I had no hope for humanity. I had become a nihilist in college. Like, he was mad at me. And I was like, you don't understand, because he starts going into it and he was like, there's ways you can purify water and there's ways you can grow food and there's ways you can do this, that, and the other. And I was like, and you learned that in childhood. I didn't.
No, well, it's not just that. Didn't. We have the most sophisticated system of food delivery ever in the history of the world.
Yeah.
And if you were to knock that out, or you knock the power out to, one, produce the food, two, to transport the food, and keep the food cold, right?
Yeah.
We're not set up. I would tell you most people probably only have 3 to 5 days rations in their house.
Yeah.
And that's if they're smart about what they eat and when they eat it and how they cook it, right? But if you had to if your refrigerator went out tomorrow and you'd have a generator and you had 4 days worth of meat, no one knows how to preserve the meat. No one knows how to cook it to preserve it. It's all gone. You better eat it in the first day because it's gone. It's going to spoil. And so we're not set up. We don't have a food distribution. And then if you are in an area, if you're in a big city, you're not getting out of the big city to hunt animals. You're just not going to be. And you don't have the equipment to hunt the animals.
Far enough out.
And you don't know how to clean the animal, cook the animal, and do all those things.
Yeah.
And if you live in the woods, right, if you can survive people trying to get out there and do all that stuff and not take your food away, then you have a shot.
Yeah.
But we're not. The human race is Michael Crichton, the chaos theory. Okay. Right? Everybody thought that chaos was here and it was a linear line to order, just a linear line. And Michael Crichton in Jurassic Park explains that it's a circle with a gap at the top. And you go from chaos to a very ordered society. But there's a gap at the top. It's not a complete circle.
Yeah.
And the more ordered a society you are, once you take one of those linchpins out, you don't slide down order.
Yeah.
You jump across the chaos. And when I read that 30 years ago, I was like, this is a brilliant way of explaining that we live on a knife's edge. We have lied to ourselves and said, oh, because we have all this technology, we're safer. Well, because we have all of this technology, we're just as much at risk as we've ever been.
Yeah.
And natural disasters show that. Yeah. How hard was it to get water, food, and medical supplies to North Carolina?
It takes less than 3 days for a community to completely devolve into chaos after a natural disaster. What question did you want to ask me, sir?
Do you really understand math?
I do.
We've asked all these math questions. Do you understand sports ball?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I know the basic rules for baseball, soccer, football, lacrosse. Yeah. But I just don't follow it. And so I can't, when I'm there, like if I'm there and I'm watching it live, I'm going to enjoy it. I even know some of the rules for rugby, but sports on TV is boring. If I'm in the stands, then amazing. I
just like the little guy in the white coat that runs and does this. They're in Australian rules football. I don't know what this means, but I love that he just runs out there and like stands between one of the four posts.
Yeah.
It's just like, go run, dude, run, do it. Yeah, but that's just from years of watching the Ocho late at night when there was nothing else to do.
A lot of really fun supercuts, ladies, of rugby players. They have to pass the ball backwards and they like help each other catch the ball. And so like if a ball's getting passed and it's going overhead, one of them will grab the shorts of the other one and launch them up in this sort of like unified cheerleader move, and shorts get very, very small and everything's accentuated. So enjoy that in Reels, guys.
Amanda will be linking those next week.
I'm just saying.
Those will be with Troy. He'll be linking those next week.
For a good time. Rugby supercuts.
My biggest comment on is when you first joined us, you were mostly in the booth.
Yep.
We had all kinds of different hosts. You quickly worked into co-hosting. And did you think you were going to have this much fun doing it?
I didn't think I was going to be in front of the camera. So I thought I was just pushing the buttons. And then you wanted to involve me in the conversation. And obviously I'm so shy. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I didn't expect any of what has happened outside of being in there pushing buttons. Yeah.
Well, actually, the way I remembered is you said, if I don't get to be co-host, I quit. That's what I remember from the conversation.
Okay. Sure. That conversation happened. You were the one like moving the cameras. Because I was like, it's kind of awkward if I'm talking and nobody can see me.
Well, I think part of what did was when Clay took the Clay camera.
Yeah. No, that's how we got the Clay camera, because we wouldn't have a guest and you would want me to talk. And I was like, it's kind of weird if the camera's just on you and I'm talking and you hear my voice from beyond. So you were like, oh, we can fix that. And you just hauled off with the camera and like changed everything about the tripod. And like less than 10 days later, we had a Clay cam.
It's
because they didn't want you touching the cameras anymore.
It was a Ben Carson moment.
100%.
Don't do this. Don't touch this.
We want a producer cam and they won't give it to us. So he would just change all the cameras.
It didn't take long. It's subtle.
No, it was like 10 days.
It was very subtle. It was simple. So the morning show, you'll be on tomorrow morning? See, big announcement.
They don't know that yet.
They don't know that.
But I'll tell them.
They will make room.
Yeah, probably.
They'll make room. So you're going to have the morning show, which will be awesome. Tomorrow night, we've got an amazing guest. I'm not telling you who the guest is, but you got to tune in. You're going to love it.
It's going to be a great guest.
It is tied to St. Augustine, and most of you that are locals, you will appreciate tomorrow's guest.
Yes. Have a drink. It's my last day of school.
All right. So just cheers like a teacher.
Cheers.
All right. You guys have fun.
Bye.